Today. For those of you that don't know me, because I know some of our experts have put it on their channels, my name is Stacey Lauren, and I am the host of the Do the Thing podcast. And then I also run the Do the Thing community. I'm going to do a few different housekeeping items right now just to make sure all the people that said they wanted to watch this are able to see it. So let me just do that really quick. And then I've got our experts waiting in the wings to talk to you guys. I'm so excited for today. For those of you that are wanting to really get into the next growth stage of your business, you are in the right place. So many people are like really wanting to level up and be able to do all of the things and manage all the priorities. And this is such a great way to kind of tap into it, is to get to hear from all the different people that I've on today and help you with that. So let me go ahead and check in. And I'm going to bring everyone on. I'm super excited to be doing this with you guys today. And oh, good. Hi. So good to see you, Sherry. Okay, so let's bring on everybody. Hello. Okay, bringing everyone on. And I see Minnie. Amazing. All right. So thank you guys for coming. So good to see you. And I'd love to have you each share who you are and what you do, and then we can kind of go from there. And Jana, if you want to start, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Stacey. It's amazing to be part of this panel. So when it comes to navigating the next growth steps in business, it's one of my favorite things to do. I support my clients as a fractional COO and business strategist to help them get out of the weeds of their business so they can scale without overwhelm and really play in their zone of genius. So I love all things systemizing, identifying inefficiencies, and streamlining operations so that you can grow to the next level of your business. So I'm super excited for this topic. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so good. And Dr. Tuvi?
Yes, hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on here. Yes, I'm Dr. Tubi Aklusotu, and my thing is I like to focus on the you, building that resilience in you so that you can actually show up as your best self in your business. So I kind of take the you and the business, put it together, and that resilience together. So I teach women how to overcome overwhelm, stress, burnout, and build a resilient them, and so that they can also have a resilient business. And then I also have a resilient blueprint that I take them through different stages to make sure that their business can run, whether or not they're having a bad day, or whether or not they don't feel like showing up, or some tragedies happening, their business still runs. So I teach them how to put systems in place so that they can scale and work less and make more money.
So good. Yeah. And so important. I remember when especially when I had my staffing company for 20 years, it was like I could have definitely used that as far as creating the systems too. And Pri, I'd love to hear from you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pri. I am currently the CEO and founder of two seven-figure restaurants in Whistler, British Columbia. And a couple of years ago, I realized that although I have, these successful companies, that I was lacking that fulfillment piece of my own life and kind of my career path. So I've been on a journey, kind of self-development for myself. And now I coach in basically life strategy and mindset, individuals that are looking to kind of find that more piece. So it can be entrepreneurs, it can be mothers, but people who are just lacking that fulfillment piece. And I'm recently launching my accelerator program, which is called the Reintention Accelerator. So it's basically taking people through reinventing themselves, but with intention. So I definitely am passionate about just growing conscious businesses so you can expand, you can grow, but just doing it with intent is what I'm most passionate about.
So good. So great. Oh my gosh. And I just saw Sarah's here. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. And Jana's here. Nice to see you. And okay, Karen. So Karen, I'm in Karen's mastermind, which has been just unbelievable experience. I'd love to have you share more about what you do and all the good stuff.
I'm Karen Salmonson, and you might know me as notsalmon.com because everybody mangles my last name and they're always going Salmonson, always going not salmon, not salmon. And I am a leading behavioral change expert. I've been a columnist on Oprah and Psychology Today, and I've sold over 2 million books and courses. And but I started off in advertising. And so I learned all about marketing and copywriting and creative directing, but I didn't like it in advertising. So I was a senior VP creative director in my late 20s, and I quit to my parents' horror to go out on my own. So I love to help people to not only, create a very successful business, but to have fun doing what they're doing. Because in advertising, I was making great money and doing well, but I didn't feel fulfilled. So that's a lot of what I do in my mastermind. I want to make sure that people are focused on what really lights them up, on what I call what's you-ier about them. And so I help them with branding and marketing and mindset. They all kind of go together and help them to figure out what's blocking them and unblock the block, and then also teach them all of everything from SEO to lead magnets to funnels, all of that stuff too. But I also am supposedly funny, so I bring humor to it too, because I write funny. That's sort of my you-ier is funny. So I help to share everything with a little bit of humor and fun. How's that?
So good. Yeah, right? Really good. Yeah, so good. I was trying to spell you-ier the other day, and I was like, I don't think I know to spell you-ier.
Oh, I do it. I spell it U-I-E-R. That's how I
okay. Okay, good. I love that. That's so good. And Minnie is the reason we are all here. It's super exciting because it's kind of neat where like these things come from, right? And where they're inspired from. But Minnie was telling me about her amazing masterclass that she has coming up, Amateur to Pro, Skyrocket Your Success in 2024. And I don't know, we were just like, oh, it'd be really fun to do an expert panel, bring in different people and be able to expand the conversation. So yeah, Minnie, share more about you and yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Susie. Thank you for putting all this together. I appreciate everybody being here in support. And so basically, I was in corporate America for about 20 years, working in marketing, operations, advertising, all of that, and decided there was a crossroads that happened last year in my life. And I decided that it was now or never. Like, how much longer am I going to wait to really to follow my passion? And I decided to start my own business and just decided to put together an advertising agency to help women, basically entrepreneurial women, get unstuck, get past the overwhelm, and come up with a system that's really easy for them to follow, that basically sets up a framework that's repeatable, that they can just use over and over again with different offers that they have. And so that's been my goal. And initially I started out more done for you advertising for people, but then I realized like a lot of women, men entrepreneurs too, probably want to learn how to do it themselves. They don't want someone kind of just doing it in the background, especially in the beginning when it can be fairly expensive. So my whole goal is to teach them how to do it and then create that framework for them that's repeatable.
So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is amazing. So thank you each for being here. I'd love to what I love doing is when you can bring in people that have so much experience and we can come together. I feel like there's just so much, just so much that can come from that, right? Because you're able to bounce ideas and different things and who knows what's there. So I'd love to just kind of like start off and hear for people listening and they have a business and they're wanting to go to the next step, right? Whatever that be for them. It could be to create a better system. It could be maybe they want to start doing Facebook ads or they want to just kind of level up. Like, what would you guys suggest in terms of really helping them move the needle in their business? Is there something that you think that would really help them do that? And Jana, you want to start?
Sure. So depending on where they are in their business and if they're at a place where, let's say they're six figures in their business and they've done everything on their own, and they realize that it's just not sustainable to wear all of the hats. One of the things that I always look at is who can we bring in that would be an amazing team support member for you that can take off the day-to-day operations. And I'm sure many can speak to this. Operations is so important, having the right team members in the right place that can then pull you out of those hours and put you back in, like I had said, your zone of genius, whether that means that you are going to be with your clients serving, or you're going to be out and doing maybe actually, this is a good one, and you'll like this, Stacy, maybe hiring on someone to do your sales calls. That's something that I hear a lot as a pain point for people, having to do their own sales calls. So when I think of scaling or growing a business, if you're at a point where you are so boggled down in your day-to-day, what is the first thing that if you got it off of your plate would free you up to be able to be more present with your clients, be of better service to your clients, and then be able to also do more marketing? And then part two, can we now bring in someone that could help you with the closing aspect? So that removes you out of that uncomfortable, often conversation in sales. Those are the two things that I think of when I think of scaling with grace.
Yeah, so it's just like, what can you actually either take off your plate that is kind of dragging you down, that could then keep you more in your zone of genius, so you're able to leverage your time more.
Exactly.
Yeah, so good. Okay, Dr. Tuvey.
I'd love to.
Oh yeah, Pri, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
No, go ahead, Dr. Tuvey.
All right. Sorry. Yeah. So just the question, same question.
Yeah, just love to hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's helpful for them to know, like, the kind of the first thing, that you think would be good.
Yeah, so just piggybacking, I love everything that Jonna said, and just piggybacking off of that. A lot of times for me, I really focus on the leader, developing the resilient leader in the business, which is that especially women, we do so much, we care for others, we take care of everything else. And it's really hard to scale without sacrificing sometimes. When a man wants to sacrifice, no offense, but I mean, when he wants to scale, he doesn't have to sacrifice much. Usually there's a woman behind the scenes cooking, taking care of everything. But a woman a lot of times has to think about, if I have to scale, at what sacrifice am I making? Am I sacrificing my mental well-being? Am I going to sacrifice time with my children, my family, and things like that? So I really help women to think about that as one of the biggest ingredients to scaling, because scaling at the cost of your mental well-being, or scaling at the cost of your health, or your family or relationships, is not a sustainable business. So I try to build in that resilience from the person first. And that is building in the boundaries and the, how to plan and prioritize, how to chunk things up, and how to really set up their day that no matter what challenges comes their way, they're able to show up as their best self and being proactive in the market. And once they do that, and I also teach women how to separate their business from themselves with that boundary, so that they can, no matter what they're going through in life, their business is not attached to their emotional well-being. And so setting up a resilient business blueprint, that's why I have my main product, is teaching them how to be resilient in themselves and transferring that within their business, so that their business runs as an entity that can scale and leave a legacy for their children that doesn't depend on their up and down emotions. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's something we don't think about. We sometimes don't want to show up. We're tired. We're fed up. Got a lot going on, but this business still has to run. So I love what Jonna said about bringing in teams. Is one of the things we talk about too, bringing in a team, delegation, prioritization, automation, systems, best practices. These are all the things I teach women to make sure their business is set up in a way that still runs, high or low.
So good. And it sounds like you're like separating the identity of the business from the woman too. Like you're which is so good, because you're not getting into that high and low based on what the business does, which I think is where the exhaustion could come from.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So good. Minnie?
Just to go off of what Tuvey was saying, I think automation is key. Automate as much as you possibly can in your system. And so many ways of doing that now that I think that we don't even know, right? I think that with some searching, I mean, even as simple as like ManyChat, just to get that going. And so you're not responding to every single thing that's coming in throughout the day. And then I find myself stuck on my phone at midnight, checking to see if I need to respond to a message, and then waking up at 7 o'clock and again, just looking at my phone immediately. So I think automation is so important. And the other thing that I think is really important, especially as women, as you were saying, that have so many other responsibilities, family, children, husband, work, other work possibly too, is not to be afraid of like hiring someone to come in and cook 3 times a week, or to come and do your laundry and have a personal helper at home to do a lot of those things that you find yourself jumping up and down and, getting out of your zone of thinking in your business. And that way it buys back that time for you to just focus during the day. So to me, I think that having someone at home would just be like amazing as well.
Yeah, so
I
good.
love that.
I'd
love that.
I'd love to chime in on this topic.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of my, I've grown 2 companies, and I really did used to feel like my self-worth was kind of attached to like how much I put into the company. Like if I wasn't there every day, showing my face, being involved and doing all the things that I know I'm capable of doing, when I came to realize that just because I was capable of doing them, I shouldn't be doing them, because that really did not serve the company well. That's when the company started to flourish. And it's funny because I literally just sat with a founder before this call and we had the same conversation. So and this kind of applies to life and to business, and it's what I do, is having, and I mean, the word is strategic plan. I don't like to use that word, but like gaining clarity. What do you want? Do you want to grow a company to 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, and work X amount of hours a day and have time away from your family? Some people do. Some people, that is the goal. They're not, they're not family bound, and that's okay. Or maybe they're in a different season of life and their children are grown up and they can do that. But I think it's like getting clear on your goals. What's the goal? For me, I went from that founding my companies in my 20s, where I didn't have children. And then there was a period where I didn't transition over quick enough and I missed out. And then I came to realize, I was like, oh, what's the point of doing all this when I'm not living my actual life? And that's when I made the transition. And, it's very rare to have restaurants where the founder and the owner isn't in there every day. And, when I detached that self-worth piece and found what actually filled me, and I said, that's what success means to me, is not working 50 hours a week. Whereas I think it's reframing that. Prior, people might think, oh, I work 50 hours a week, and they wear that badge, badge of honor. So I just think it depends on the season.
Yeah, I love that. I was like obsessed with the show, The Profit, for a while. And what I really liked about that is they show a lot of the people with family businesses, and you think that you have to be there all the time. And I saw it in their face. And I was like that when I had my staffing company. It was a family-owned business. And you couldn't even leave for lunch, right? But then you realize that it doesn't matter, and it's like, and I love this idea of that you guys are bringing up with being able to, just kind of like empower yourself, right? So that you're able to then still run the business. Okay, Karen, you're up.
Yeah, I love everything everybody's saying. I'm here nodding and nodding. And as far as like the cooking thing goes, we order up so much the food, because to me it's it's more expensive, but it kind of isn't. My time is worth something. So and that makes it kind of fun and exciting. We discover new places, and so that is something. And then just to try to, I agree with everything you said. In fact, if I had gone first, I might have said a little bit of what all of you. So I'm trying to say something different. And what I would say is, if I'm helping somebody to scale, the first thing I do, I call it an audit and inventory. where we look at every touch point. It's sort of like getting on every kind of scale that you can imagine, and it's kind of scary. It's like getting on a scale would be. And you face your reality, and then I look for money leaks, confidence leaks, energy leaks, traffic leaks. I look at everything. And then I also not only look at what might need to be the glitches, but also, not only learn from your mistakes, but learn from your non-mistakes. Like, what are you doing right? Why is that working so well? And so first you have to get clear on that. And then I would say for my own life, if I look at my biggest growth, it's we can get trapped in kind of like doing the same thing all the time. And if it's working, then we just keep, doing it. We got so attached to our systems that are working well. And my biggest growth opportunities are when I'm taking a walk and suddenly this flash of an idea of something that it's totally different and new, that's outside of, that's like, and then I'm like, yes, because we can get so caught up in our day to day that we don't have our little like moments of brilliance of like where something is not what we're like, completely different, and that's what has really catapulted me when I have those moments. So you have to give yourself time. That's where self-care is important, walks, yoga, meditation, because that's where you get those golden nuggets that take you really to the next level.
Yeah, so I love that you brought this up because, and actually Dr. Tooby said something the other day that I loved, and I don't remember exactly what it is, and I don't know if you remember, but it was about the shiny penny syndrome and when to know when to go. But I'd love to maybe go here next, right? Like, because I get that too, where you get that moment, where you're like, oh, I could do this, right? And then how do you know when to follow that versus, say, okay, I'm gonna move you over here.
Well, if it matches with, I think what happens is we get so used to our systems that we have to make sure the world is constantly changing. Don't forget to change with it. So sometimes the new shiny thing is because some part of you knows that it's time to stretch yourself. Like you notice a trend, you notice you've changed in some way. It's usually the world has changed or you've changed. And this is, and it should be your sweet spot. It should match your brand. It should match whatever makes you you-ier. And you should just know, oh my God, like it should be like one of these like clunks,
Like you don't have to ask anyone because it so innately, right? It's when you're not asking for advice. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Who else? Oh, Dr. Tooby. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, that what I was saying was the shiny object syndrome, right? And I think a lot of times what happens is like people that do follow that, like, oh, here's the next big thing. And, oh, that looks exciting. And that looks exciting. And if you don't really have passion, right? You just here for like a month or 2 months, 3 months, then you give up and then you go here for 2-3 months and you don't have that consistency. I always tell people that people think I have passion, like I have my business, right? Finer Details Luxury Events. And there's times I don't have passion for it, but I'm passionate about everything I do. So whether I feel like going, whether I feel like meeting with this client or not, no matter what, I'm consistent. You would never know that. And so there's been times where someone's like, hey, let's start a group home. No, let's do this. No, it's like they're just kind of dangling that shiny object in your face. And if you're not focused, you're following like, oh, that's where the money at. That's where the money's at. And so you have to kind of stay focused and kind of stay in your lane kind of and not be distracted. And that can cause overwhelm because you don't know what to do. You're always chasing this. You're always starting this. You're always launching this. You're always launching that. And nothing really grows. So you can't grow and scale if you're not somewhere. Sometimes you got to go through the stages, the growth stage, the nurturing stage, the acceleration stage, the scale stage. You got to go through the stages. But if you keep launching, right, you keep launching the new thing, you're not going through the phases. And then you have that credibility when you get to that stage. That's when you can sit back, delegate more, hire an operations manager, do whatever, and just relax and be a CEO.
I agree with that. So I just want to go back backtrack a little and say, what I mean is if something is stuck or you've plateaued,
Mm.
you have to walk away. You have to take, if you're constantly in your routine, you're not going to get to what that thing is. That's not what you're doing. Like, so that's sort of like what I mean.
Yeah,
But
it's like taking space from it, where you're taking a walk and you're like separating yourself from the thing, which actually goes back to kind of like breaking your identity from the business, you know, in a way too.
yeah.
I mean, I also think that we have to keep the way that I can really determine whether it's something that I'm truly passionate about is when I get into the flow, right? There's one thing working till midnight and feeling like it's a drudgery and you don't want to be doing it. And then there's the other thing where you're up till 2 a.m. and you look at the clock and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to keep working on this. And so that's usually what I use to kind of gauge how much I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. And if it's not working, then maybe pivot. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. Jana.
Well, I wanted to touch on this because you said something really powerful, Stacey, and this goes with what Karen said, you know, taking the space to slow down, to hear that inner guidance, which is the flow state where we build resilience, where all of the big ideas come from. And then you said something really powerful that I think is important to bring up. You said, how do you know when it's time to actually execute on that guidance, not the shiny object syndrome from the outside? Because sometimes I get this hit of inspiration and you kind of just have to sit with it, in my opinion, and discern, okay, yes, I need to act on that now, or give myself some space and say, you know what, that's not ready yet. That still is in like incubation within me. It's not ready to be birthed yet. So I'm going to put it off to the side. And if it comes once, okay, is there anything I need to do here? No. Twice. Or maybe there's one action I need to take 3 times. And then it's like, now you go. Or you meet somebody and the whole thing just comes together like this beautiful orchestrated puzzle. That's what I heard you say. And I really wanted to speak to, because I've fallen victim to myself getting too stuck in the day-to-day routine and not hearing that voice well anymore. And then maybe taking action too soon, or forgetting about the thing because I'm so stuck in it. So they layered everything we're talking about. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because it's just reminding me why I love what I do, because I love being able to be that person to let you have your space so that you can hear that voice. And then also to be the space to say, maybe let's not act on that just yet, but we can do X, Y, Z until then. And then when it's time, let's put the pedal to the metal. So
yeah, I love that.
Also, I'd love to just add a point to that, is like going back to the why behind it, you know. So there's so many opportunities. We can do so much, but then you kind of go back to your core values and like, where is it that you're trying to go? And, you know, for myself, I have had opportunities in the food and beverage industry come up, and it's so hard because people don't understand, well, why wouldn't you do that? Like, it's such a good opportunity. You could franchise, you can do this. It doesn't align with my goal now, you know? So I use the words, I don't want to. People respond differently to that, because I'm like, no, I just don't want to. And they're like, but why? I'm like, it just doesn't align. So I think we have to step away from, yes, we go back to, could I do it? Yes. Would it be a financially amazing decision? Sure. But does it align, and does it feel good? So back to what Minnie said, like, will I be up at 2 a.m. going, oh my God, I had such a good time creating this? Because if it's no, then it's okay to step away. Because, and this is like, I go back to, you know, gaining clarity and building a conscious, intentional life. Because we can just kind of get caught up in what we should do, or what others think we should do, and what we think might be good for us. But when we sit with that, and this is actually what I teach, a workshop called the Clarity Code, it's no, not what everyone else thinks, not what we should, but what feels good and aligned, you know. So when we're doing the work, it feels purposeful and we're excited for it. So
I completely agree with that. I call it my Haagen-Dazs theory of productivity, right? Where
Love
if
it.
I gave you a pint of Haagen-Dazs and a spoon, and I looked at you and I said, I want this entire pint done. Finish it in an hour. I'll be back, And then you're like, you don't mind spooning it up. Like you'll
Yeah.
you come back. I go, you're so disciplined, so productive. No, it's doing something you love. And that's sort of how I am when I get giddy about a project. It's exactly what Minnie said. And like, you get excited about it. And that's sort of the secret of my productivity is I keep picking things that put me in that flow state, that tap into what makes me youier. That's like, and it also stretches me. I want the next thing. I get bored. I want to stretch myself a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's also part of it. And then I do see a place in the marketplace. Like it matches me, but it also matches the world is changing. You always have to go. The world is constantly changing. Don't forget to change with it. We're constantly changing. Don't forget to change. And that's what also puts us in flow. Oh my God, hilarious, but not hilarious. That doorbell is the food coming. Because I was
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. So good. Well, I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, so by the way, sorry, we had a few comments I wasn't able to read, but Jamie said totally agree, and Fern said I think that's the hardest idea. It makes sense to have household help, but still, it's hard as a woman to delegate. That's actually really powerful, Fern. Yeah, it's true, right? It's the whatever that is there that can come up when you're like wanting to be okay with getting help, in that way. And it goes back to actually what you said, Jonna, earlier with the zone of genius, which actually is coupled kind of throughout the whole thing because everyone's saying between all of you, like boundaries, getting outside help. Minnie's talking about automation. There's like all of these different things, right? So how do we stay in our zone of genius? That would be, I think that goes back to Karen, what you were saying with the audited inventory, right? But then how do we actually like prioritize and get some clarity around, and I think you all have something really powerful to say on this, like how do we get some clarity around where our zone of genius is versus what we should delegate or automate? I'm curious what you guys think on that. Shauna, you want to start feeling it?
Sure. So how do we, I'm going to pause for a second because I think Minnie would be really good to answer this, especially with her insight on automation, because I still need it. It's simmering a little bit and I don't want to speak just to speak. So if you could share your insight, because I think there's some power in being able to automate to free us up to be clear on our zone of genius and in it.
Yeah. So I think definitely there's so many things. Your email nurse, many factors can do your.
Uh-oh. We're having a little audio.
It's just going.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. That's good.
And then the things that I love actually are creating landing pages and doing webinars and the content creation. So that part of it, I really enjoy. I don't really enjoy the other stuff. So if I can hire someone to do the other whole thing, as you know, Jonna,
yes,
I would be very happy to do that. And that's going to be my first hire, honestly. If I can have a VA or somebody to just come in and I'll say, I'm going to give you all this content. Here's the flow. Please just take care of this. And then I can create multiple offers at once to see what's going to work, as opposed to now it's only one at a time sequentially, because it's so time intensive for me. So, I mean, that's one of my things, but also part of my goal of doing all this is to get some of my time back. So when I automate, I'm going to be, at the beach. I'm going to be doing stuff like that. I'm going to be visiting my kids. Like, it's just not going to be filled up with work just because I've automated something. It's going to be me then starting to enjoy some of those things I've been waiting to enjoy,
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. Dr. TV?
Yeah, I was going to say, I love what Minnie's saying. One thing helped me as a personal business owner was automate all the things that take my time and get someone else to do those things, quotes and all that. Like now I don't do quotes, but I had never automate me meeting with the client, right? And I know some people say like get a salesperson and stuff like that, but I realized when I used to have outside sales, if you know you're strong in sales, I lost a lot of money at one point when I was giving all my sales to someone else and I was training them and they just weren't getting it. And then I came in and all of a sudden I saw this huge increase. So at that moment, I realized, okay, when it comes to meeting with a client and sales, that's me, and everything else I can automate and I can get an assistant to do that. So sometimes I really try to work with women entrepreneurs to teach them the confidence to sometimes do their own sales, because you really can't automate transformation, and sales is transformation, and teaching them how to meet their client at their point of need and give them a transformative experience that turns into a sale. And once they have that confidence to do that, and they're spending that whole time doing just that, everything else can be an automation, right? But if you really want to scale your business and really want to make more money, you've got to learn that confidence to be able to have that experience with your customer, with your clients, because they're coming into a program because they saw you on a video, or they come to your course, and then all of a sudden you automate them out to like somebody in a different country or something, and they're like, you might lose them. That part, you might lose them because they want to connect with you. So I would say that connection first, and then automate all the processes and the onboarding and all this other stuff. But when it comes to that experience and bringing them on, I say the owner really needs to, the business person really needs to take that on and not automate that part. That's my opinion, and that's really what's helped me triple revenue. When I realized that gap, when I switched that and all I focused on was my meeting with my clients and sales, I tripled revenue in a year. So sometimes you want to look at that.
Yeah, it's back to your zone of genius, right? Like you're like that.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that. And it goes back to like my main purpose in life is bringing, relationships back to business, right? Automating the things that you can. Like that's what I love with like automating Minnie, what you're doing with the ads, the funnels, like automate all that and like give me time to like work with you kind of one-on-one, type thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right, Jonna, you're simmering. You're good.
Yeah. So I am, and it really just helped hearing everybody speak too. And it was like right there, you spoke to it. If it's something that I would wake up in the morning and I would do for free, and I would do till like I would keel over and enjoy it, like Minnie was saying, that's when I know I'm in my zone of genius. Will there be times, like Dr. Tubi said, that there are days I am like, the 2-year-old has had me like up to here. I am on like an hour of sleep. I can't even imagine running 2 restaurants that are 7 figures. Like, you are a saint. But, those days are going to happen because we're meant to stretch and grow. So I know I'm going through a growing phase, but I couldn't imagine doing anything else. When I left corporate, and it was like this pivotal moment of, okay, I can't go back. I cannot go back. I literally have to do this, and this is going to work because there is no going back. I am here. I have a purpose. I'm here to serve. I'm here to do the work that I came here to do. And I will always wake up, even if it's in a 15-hour day. I'm tired, but I feel so full. That's when I know I'm in my zone of genius. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. There are days I'm like, I really should have been doing that. I'm tired, I'm mad, but I still show up because resilience, Dr. Tubi. So there's my answer for that.
Yeah.
I think it's just, for me, I think it's really important I'm really focused on how I spend my time. I know what I'm doing, and when I'm doing it, I'm not bigging myself up, but like sometimes I look at other people and they're saying they've got no time. I'm like, how do you have no time? Like, I run 2 restaurants. I've started a coaching company. Minnie knows I've just taken on another role with another company as a community manager, just because I'm so passionate about the company. I've got 2 kids. I travel because I don't waste time. We all have the same amount of time. If we're sitting being unproductive, and I watch Netflix and I sit down and scroll social media, I do all the things, but it's with intent, right? So I do think you can scale, you can be a mother, you can start new businesses and work a full-time job. I think you can do it all. Not saying you should do it all, but I just think you need to get really intentional with what you are doing from moment to moment. And I do plan my days out. Like I get up at 5:30, I go to the gym, like there's a routine in place. And at the end of the day, do I have days where it doesn't go how it should? Sure. But then I go back, my anxiety normally goes up, but I know what I'm doing wrong then. I'm like, no, you didn't plan your day. You had no idea. You were just aimlessly wandering through, hoping that things were going to get done. It happens, right? As entrepreneurs, you go back to, oh, when did I last feel really accomplished? Oh, I planned exactly what I was trying to do. And then you know what success is like. You feel successful at the end of the day. So I just think like being very intentional with what you're actually trying to accomplish in a day, in a week, month, quarter, whatever that might be.
I absolutely agree with that. I agree with all of you. I love all of you. When I do the audited inventory, I think of everything as leaks. I also look for time leaks, where people are losing their time. And so even though I'm like creative or whatever you want to call it, like I am a little like bohemian creative, I'm very logical. Everything is in time blocked in the Google Calendar. And not only that, I have fun with this. This might be something that could help people. I attach my Google Calendar to my Alexa. And so when I have something, I get the Google Calendar pops up on my phone, and then Alexa tells me. And sometimes I write it down in a way that's sort of like funny to get me motivated. Like if it's something that I'm putting it off.
I love it.
It's great. Write that next chapter, damn it, Karen. You know, walking out like in Alexa's voice.
That's amazing.
And I just found out because I also wake up early because I'm a mom too. And so those are my like private time, like my little secret bewitching hour that I can get things done. And Alexa, if you set Alexa to wake you up at 5 a.m., I don't know if she does this at 5:30 a.m. So find out. You should find out. She says, wake up, early bird. It's time to catch some worms. I was like, what? Like they now programmed Alexa to say that. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But
I think you're really...
Yeah. And I also have Alexa tell me to drink more water. She's like, time to drink water. It's all on my, like, that's how right brain, left brain, even though I'm creative, it's like, everything's like planned like that. And I'm nudged constantly, But go ahead.
I love that, Karen.
No,
That's
I think you're saying like what's so important, and I want everyone listening to really capture this. And this is like something I use in the Do the Thing formula to help people take action. And it's fun, right? Like fun is a mindset, and it's like being able to add fun wherever you can, because that's what's going to keep it so alive. And what Minnie said, where you're going to want to stay up till 2 a.m. because you're going to follow the fun,
I gave a TED talk and it was called Fun is a High Performance Fuel. And
I didn't know that. That's so good.
I believe fun is like meditation on steroids. Like if you're having fun, just think about how much more you can get done if you make it fun. So you have to trick yourself into making it fun or feeling fun or getting into that fun frame of mind, which is why I make the Alexa nudges funny, just to get myself into that mindset. It's mindset again. Mindset.
It is.
So good.
But it's also structure. I think something you said really important, Karen. You said you're this bohemian flow, like very like you go with the tide, but you're not just that. You're also practical. You have the masculine and the feminine. And that's why it's important to have the practical masculine structures, whether that's an automation or Alexa managing your schedule, so that you can stay in the feminine flow. I really wanted to touch on that because that's powerful.
And it's
and it's
interesting.
Easy to swing.
Something, if I could just chime in, because you made me have a little epiphany on some level. That right brain, left brain, when I help people with their sales page copy, even though I love writing, my first thing is writing. I am very like, this needs SEO. Stacy knows. I'm like, I bring that feminine masculine to there's always like a method to my madness, a logic there, because some people just write poetic or like almost a perfume copy sale.
Yeah.
Where's your SEO? Where's your CTA? So I'm always bringing that mix of
Yep.
the feminine, I guess it's feminine masculine or right brain, left brain or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
if you are dominant in one, you still have to kind of get the muscle going on the other because you need both.
Absolutely. I agree.
So good.
Oh, you
Minnie,
Thanks.
Minnie, you have a question in the chat. What are your top tips to start automating for people?
I would say if you can automate, depending on what your funnel looks like, how many emails you have at the various steps, whether it's coming from, you have, let's say, an ad that's showing up or a post in Instagram, and then that's going through the funnel after that. You ask somebody to DM you in order to get the lead magnet, all of that through ManyChat or Go High Level or whatever you want to use. Those are all multiple steps that were bogging me down so much because it requires so much just keeping on top of things. If you have 15 emails going out, like in one funnel, which is very possible, you could do that. Can you imagine keeping track of that, like per person? You just can't do it. As you scale, you just cannot do it. So that's what I would recommend is mainly initially coming up with those extraneous parts that come off your landing page, that come off your opt-in page, that come off your, your offer, your conversion page, all of those things. All that extra stuff can be automated. And it's not that complicated once you get it set up. So that's what I would recommend with that.
Do you want to use this time to talk about, I'll put it up here for anyone that wants to join your masterclass that just happens to be on, what is it, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday?
Yeah. I guess before that, I just wanted to quickly make a comment that three of the things that are really strong with whenever I do anything with my business is really thinking about expanding, unblocking, and aligned action. And if I take every situation that comes up and I think about it as, is this expanding me and how is it expanding me? Even if I don't like it, what is it teaching me and how am I getting, better and stronger because of it? What, if I'm really bothered by something, what is that? What do I need to unblock in order to get through that? What has happened to me or in business or whatever that's making me kind of cringe at something. So unblock that. And then take aligned action moving forward. And that's kind of my recipe for success. I feel like if you do those three things and know in your heart that there is no option but to succeed, then you'll succeed. So I just wanted to put in there.
Yeah.
So good.
Can you mention also, because you're about to mention about your masterclass, but like when should someone do ads? Like, because you're going to also, and I see you guys scanning the QR code. Thank you. But yeah, I put her QR code for her masterclass up on the top there. But like, when should someone, and maybe just talk a little bit about what you're going to be teaching at the,
Yeah.
And it's free, you guys. It's literally free. So
free. And I want to touch upon so many things, but I feel like I could just talk for hours and hours. I'm really going to focus on, when you have your ideal client, first of all, let's unpackage that. Who is your ideal client? Are you sure about that being the right person? And then the ability to use artificial intelligence and AI to create messaging around that person. Of course, you want to go into that and make it your own and all of that. But gosh, using AI will just reduce the time required to get any of these projects done. So I'm a huge proponent of that. So I'm gonna offer some AI prompts that I think will be really helpful to people as they're figuring out their messaging initially. And then just kind of a whole description of the process, right? Because my whole thing is framework, process, repeatable framework. People are nervous sometimes because they feel like it's going to take so much time to do ads, or they can't afford it, or they're overwhelmed. So this whole thing is to show that no, it's not that complicated. I teach them how to create. Now, of course, in this particular 2-hour session, I can't teach people how to create ads and funnels, but I can kind of go through the process of how to make it a lot easier and more intentional, that feels right to you and that you understand. So that's kind of my goal for this, is to talk about the whole process. And I feel like people are ready for ads at different times, right? Like I think initially when you're really trying to make some money and monetize first, organic marketing, organic advertising, stuff that you teach, Stacy, is perfect.
Mhm.
That's the way that you
Mhm.
should be. And then when you reach a point where you're really ready to scale and you've got the funds to do that, or you're just ready to scale from the beginning. Like you don't want to wait around and do that organic marketing, right? And advertising. Then, so it really depends on each person and where they are in their journey and how quickly they want to scale.
I love that. And I think you said you have someone that even did it where like she's testing an offer that way, right? Where she has like a new product she's developing and she's using the ads to even like test if it's
She is.
something that she wants to create, which is actually
Right.
pretty cool.
She's doing nothing organic. She's just going straight to paid ads,
Yeah,
because that's
so
what she
good.
wants. She's got her manufacturer
Yeah.
lined up, got everything lined up, and now she just wants to scale as quickly as she can.
Yeah, so if you guys are watching the replay, I just mention Minnie in the comments, and then we'll share the link with you that way. And then yeah, if each of you can just kind of share how people can follow up with you and all the good stuff. Jana, you want to start?
Yes, you can. Yeah, my favorite place to live is on Instagram at Jana Blage. I am Jana Blage on all platforms. However, LinkedIn right now, we're live on LinkedIn on my profile, and then the same for my Facebook. So I do have a question for
Yeah.
Minnie that I'd love her to answer. You can do this at the end, but I don't want to forget because that'll happen. For anybody relate? When someone's starting out and maybe the financials are not so plethora, that is such a strange way of explaining it. I don't know what just happened, but they don't have a whole lot to invest.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to paint a picture of and kind of demystify ads for all of us, because I want to know, like, can we start with a $20 ad campaign, a $50, or is it like when I think of ads, I think of like these big gurus online talking about they just spent $20,000 on ads to get their big funnel going, and
Right.
that feels really out of reach.
Right. And I agree. And that's why I really want to work with women entrepreneurs, because we've all been there, right? And we might be in a slower path. I definitely want people to understand that you do not have to hire an expensive agency from the beginning that says, they're going to put you on a monthly retainer. I did that in the beginning, and to me, it just didn't fit or feel right with who I was working with. So that's why I created something that's more of a product. It's kind of a one-time framework that I help clients create that's repeatable and that they can go in easily and change the offer within. And then, of course, if they need some help, I can help them depending on if they're adding a webinar or if they're adding a different, sales page or something. But something that's a lot more affordable, rather than being $40,000 to run this for the year. You can learn everything for a much smaller amount, and you can do it yourself. And you can have the confidence of knowing that you know how to make changes if you need to. You're not counting on somebody else to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you're like giving them the skills basically to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, anytime they
Awesome.
want. I love that. And Dr. Tubi, you want to share where people can follow along with you or join your community and all the good stuff?
Yes, you can join me at Meant to Thrive Community with a 2, meant2thrivecommunity.com. That's my Facebook group. You can also go to my website at helpherthrivecoach.com. And yeah, those are the 2 places you can find me.
Okay.
Help Her Thrive. I'm on LinkedIn as well, and just look
Yeah,
me
we
up.
should all do
Google me.
LinkedIn. I feel like we should talk more LinkedIn too. Yeah, and then Pri.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I've got my handle up there. So basically, if you're looking to kind of gain clarity on that more, or start taking the action, then get a hold of me. And I have a breadth of experience in different businesses. So feel free to reach out. I'd love to chat.
So good. And Karen, I'd love you to share, because I know your mastermind is coming up and you don't know when you're doing it again. So we have to.
Yeah. I love helping. I do have a lot of women in my mastermind, pretty much women. So, and I do love helping women in business. And my mastermind starts in May, but I don't want to be too salesy, whatever, but I also have a free, you can meet with me for like a free consult too. And if I can help you during that consult, as you can tell, I gab and I share, and I will do everything I can. Even in that free consult, you'll walk away and go, geez, wow, I got that for free. So I have that up on my site, nodsalmon.com. Under my Brand Honey page, you can see signing up for a free consult with me. And then the mastermind, if you're interested, starts in May, and it's a 2-month one. And it's different. Minnie, I don't do what you do. Each of us are you here. So everybody here, I loved it. You really picked some great women. I'm going to follow all of you guys.
And I just put Karen's booking page up there for the QR code. I know someone just.
Oh yeah, did I say notsalmon.com? I forgot to say that.
Yeah, no, you're good. I also have it up there too. Yeah, it's good. And then if you guys are watching this on the replay and you've missed any of those links, just comment the name of the person that you want or message me. So, oh my gosh, we did it. We made it on time. I can't believe it right now. I'm so excited. Let me check in with you guys and see. Oh, love this for women entrepreneurs. It's so funny. It wasn't intentional that it was an all woman panel, but it just sort of happened. And then, and then it's just been amazing. I feel like because we spoke to so many things that affect women, and I'm sure I know, Mike, you mentioned you were going to watch it. So for those of you that are guys that are watching it, we still love you. But the part of, of like really finding that zone of genius, really respecting your boundaries, honoring yourself. It's okay to hire help, whether it be for your business or for your, for your personal life, and, I love the fulfillment piece that you each brought in, and how important it is to honor what we're doing. And I feel like, Minnie, you gave me permission, because I've been working till like 1 a.m. lately, honestly, and I love it. I'm a little exhausted, but I love it. But I feel like there's a part of me that like feels like it's wrong, but I think you just gave me permission to just accept it, and that I'm like in love with what I'm doing, and so I think that's what I love about these spaces, is just us all just loving having this opportunity to connect about something that we love, and then we're able to kind of bring that to life, right? So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know it's night, it's evening. Some of you have kids. There's a lot going on, so I really appreciate it. It was amazing to be on this panel with you guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. This is really great.
So good. All right. And so
Thank you for putting it together, Stacey.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for those of you watching, thanks for joining, and do the thing. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it.